So have you wondered about tempo count, repetition, tempo count, whatever those numbers are that you see between those dashes? What do they mean? How do you assert them into your training? And how do you even abide by them? That's what we're going to talk about today. Tempo count. Let's go. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of That Guy Health. If you haven't been here before, you need to subscribe. If you have been here before, thank you for coming back. Today, we are going to talk about repetition tempo count. All right. So this is those sector of numbers that you see sometimes if you get a new trainer and they send you a training protocol, or you happen to download some type of training on a website and you see these numbers. It's usually 3 sectors with 2 dashes, and you're wondering, what the heck does that mean? How many seconds is this? Which side of the repetition or the action am I doing this? All types of things that people are usually concerned with when they don't understand what repetition tempo count means. So we're going to go over that. Hopefully after this video, you will understand a bit more about how to assert it into your training, and you'll understand how these numbers actually work and how they can work for you. Okay. So today we're not going to go into a certain set of tempos that are for either strengthening or power or conditioning. We're just going to pick a set of numbers. I'm going to tell you how these sectors work, and then we're going to go from there. We will also leave here, go over to the gym area, and also show you 2 exercises that usually get confused when the repetition tempo count comes in. So let's go over some basic fundamentals first. All right. So it is known, and I don't care what anybody else said, that these numbers do not change positions, all right? So the first sector, you could be a 4, 3, or whatever the case is. The first sector that you see is always going to be your eccentric mode, okay? It's always going to be your eccentric move, all right? And if you don't know what eccentric means, eccentric is the extending or the lengthening of the muscle. Okay, so good cheat code to remember what eccentric is extending. Eccentric, extending. Okay, it's going to be when the muscle is extending itself, or when you're extending it in the exercise. Okay, I said extending too many times, like a tongue twister. All right, that first sector is always going to be the eccentric phase of the tempo. Okay, so the second sector, believe it or not, no, it is not the contraction. It is going to be the isometric hold. All right, now the isometric hold is at the end of the eccentric. Okay, so when you're extending, that time that you're not going back into your contraction is your isometric hold. The last sector is going to be the concentric phase of the tempo count. All right. Now, another cheat code on knowing what concentric is, that is the contraction. Concentric contraction. That is actually when you are working that primary muscle group to contract and lift the weight or push the weight. All right. And that's when things get a little bit funny, is when things change in the exercise or you change orientation and you happen to think that the first is like, okay, that's when I'm coming down, and this is when I'm just holding, and this is when I'm going up. But if those things are flipped, then in your mind, you're thinking like, okay, so does this now work the opposite way? No. All right. You have to remember, it is very key to keep in mind the terminology. All right. Eccentric, isometric, concentric. Extend, hold, contract. That's what we have to remember. All right. So it could be 4, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4, whatever it is. That first digit is always going to be your eccentric phase. The second sector is always going to be your isometric, and the last sector is always going to be your concentric. I have seen times where people put a 4th digit in there, and I mean, I guess it's okay if you want to try to hold at the top here when there's, there's nothing really going on, or you want to get somebody to hold when they're fully contracted in a bench press before they come down. I'm not sure why you would do it. There could be reasons to do it. I think that it would be more beneficial, I guess, if you were doing a resistance type exercise. But I have seen people put the 4th sector in there, and basically they want an isometric hold on the concentric phase versus an addition to the isometric hold on the eccentric end, okay? So I have seen 4 sectors in a tempo count, but traditionally you will only have 3 sectors in a tempo count, all right? So with that being said, let's move over to the gym area so I can also verbally talk us through the eccentric, isometric, and the concentric phase of 2 different exercises so that you can see how it will work if your orientation is also changed and why it does not change because of the terminology that we're using and the muscle of how it is actually working, all right? So let's get ready to go over here, show you some things. Boom. All right, so what we got here is a traditional barbell, all right? So first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna go through where basically, and I'm gonna use this word, where our contraction will be extending out from the body, okay? We're gonna be extending further away from the plane instead of coming in, all right? So this is gonna be typically something like your bench press, overhead press, which is exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna do an overhead press to show you how the tempo count will work in that type of routine, okay? So basically, I'll get my barbell here. Boom, if I'm gonna start the overhead press, right now in this position, my overhead press is gonna be working the front delt, some of the lateral delt, okay? So right now, the front delt and the lateral delt are slightly in extension, okay? So they're not contracting to do the work. Muscles contract to move ligaments, to move limbs, excuse me, not ligaments, although the ligaments do move. But right now, I'm technically in an isometric hold on the eccentric, all right? So right now, I would have to, although the tempo count works from eccentric, isometric, concentric. Right now, with my starting position, I'm in the eccentric phase. So let's say my tempo count is 4, 2, 1, all right? So that means 1 second on concentric and then 4 seconds on eccentric, which is down. And then I'm gonna do 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, boom. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1, 1,000. All right, that's how that's working. The tempo count is working in an overhead press or when you're moving away from the plane of the body, all right? That's one fashion. You can't get confused, although most do. I know I did when I first started getting deep into training, realizing tempo count, when you go into a move like the bent over rows, okay? Because at that point in time, the routine where we're using to contract in this routine, we're coming into the body. And that's because now we're working the back muscles and those back muscles have to contract to work, but the contraction is happening as we're coming inward. So the tempo count does not change. The numbers and sectors do not change around because your routine or your exercise changes. Therefore, your movement of when contraction happens changes. So we're gonna keep 4, 2, 1, all right? And in the 4, 2, 1, we're still 4 seconds on eccentric, 2 seconds on isometric hold, 1 second on concentric, which is contraction, which is where the muscle will work to pull the load, all right? So in here, if we have the barbell in our hands, slightly bent over, remember, we're still 4, 2, 1. Right now, my back muscles are in the eccentric position, okay? Because they are lengthened, all right? So I wanna do 4, 2, 1. Okay, so I'm starting off on the concentric, which is 1 second, although right now I'm in an isometric hold, okay? So boom, I'm gonna 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, isometric, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1, concentric, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, isometric, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, concentric, 1, and so on, okay? So boom. And I am right now going into eccentric 4 seconds, 2 seconds isometric hold, 1 second contraction. That is how repetition tempo count works, all right? So if you're needing help, you need training, you need somebody to get you past that hump, or you just need to work with somebody who does know a bit more than the average Joe at the gym, you can go to www.thatguyhealth.com. I have online training plans. I have a fitness app that will give you all instructional videos. I will be able to upload your protocols, check in and see your macros daily, help you reach your goals, all right? Don't forget to go over to the Instagram, Facebook page, and of course you're here at the YouTube. Subscribe, click notification. More videos coming out just like this to help you take your training further. All right, you know what I always say, be safe, let's build together, peace. You know, it's late. I got to get some more training in. Yeah, I'll just leave that there. Y'all can pick it up.